Welcome to Lead Different.
Why not leadership? Why not lead different?
Welcome to Lead Different, the podcast that redefines leadership and challenges the status quo. Hosted by Daniel Dominguez, founder and CEO of Why Not Leadership. This show is your compass to becoming a better leader through the power of self-awareness. Good leaders foster teams that are engaged, empowered, and energized. Join us on this transformative journey as we equip you with the tools and insights to lead different. Get ready to challenge the ordinary and embrace self-aware leadership. This is Lead Different.
Subscribe now. Discover a new era of leadership. Lead different, because great leaders change the world.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lead Different podcast for this week. I am excited to introduce you to Dr. Tina Flores. She is a visionary talent acquisition leader and strategic career advisor who bridges emotional intelligence and artificial intelligence to transform how organizations hire, lead, and perform. She oversees large-scale federal talent operations, partnering with executive leadership to design data-driven recruitment strategies and team architectures that align people, technology, and purpose. Her approach combines systems thinking, emotional intelligence, and emerging technologies to build high-performing, future-ready teams and cultures that scale with precision and impact. In her personal time, she leverages that talent expertise to coach stuck professionals to finally have a career they love. I mean, what is not to love about that introduction? You can imagine there's a reason why we brought Dr. Tina Flores to us here today. So, Dr. Tina, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. I am so glad that we were introduced by our good friend Dave Valero. As I was reading that introduction, there's so much in there that I know our audience is going to love. There's so much talk right now, Dr. Tina, about EI and AI, and both have their niche. But what you've done is bring them together and talk about a great combination, because whenever you're talking about technology and you forget about the people, the EI portion of it, you're going to run into problems. And if you get too much into the EI and not enough into the technology, you're also going to run into problems. I think combining a healthy dose of both and knowing what that balance is critically important. So I'd love to start there and just kind of tell us a little bit about what brought you into this space and how are you combining it?
So my doctoral research was heavily based on the innovative and strategic implementation of emotional intelligence into the hiring process. So I got really deep into EI. I was already passionate about it. I loved all the psychological learnings about it and how it helps leaders be even better. So during that, and with the big culmination of all of the ChatGPT stuff, all of the AI, I'm like, you know what? These are two big components of society right now. These are two game changers in our workforce and how companies are going to hire, lead, and thrive. Bam! If I smash them together, like how great would that be? So it's like, how can we maintain our humanity while also being super tech driven going forward? And that's where I came up with the EIA nexus.
So one of the things you did is you created something called the dual dynamics hiring model, and then also the EI AI nexus. So tell us about both of those together, because I think that's going to be, if people are working with you, that's probably something they're familiar with. What does it mean to have a dual dynamics hiring model?
So a lot of times, previous to this model, a lot of hiring models or hiring frameworks were based on what does it say on the resume? Are they technically qualified for this position? Can I run off of a checklist and say that they could do this, 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 and this? Which, okay, I mean, it served a purpose, but the dual dynamics hiring model goes over their operational efficiency, so their technical prowess, their actual skills, their experience, all of those checkboxes. But are they also able to have the EI component? Can they regulate their emotions? Are they emotionally self-aware? Do they have the skills to be able to work interpersonally within those organizations dependent on the team that they're going on in a way that works best?
Okay, and so that I can see where those dual dynamics work together. What is the EI AI nexus?
So that's where human intelligence meets strategic AI implementation. So there's 3 pillars to this nexus. Pillar 1 is coaching culture. So it's a culture that's done through like a coaching lens. So not you must do this and here and these are the things, but how can we coach the team to get to the productivity we need? Pillar 2 is decoding the data. So we shouldn't really be doing anything that we don't understand. Otherwise, it's just productivity. We want to have the data to understand why we're doing it, where we're doing it, and how it's affecting things. And then from there, we have pillar 3, which is design systems. So it's automation for efficiency, not just for the sake of automating. Ethical EI in hiring, and then having like a digital twin workforce model.
A digital twin. Say that again. A digital
twin workforce models. So that's simulating team changes and project scenarios in a virtual environment before actually implementing them.
Man, that's fascinating. And then, you and I have gotten to know each other a little bit since we met, and I've had the opportunity to go through your Y operating system. So this is a good time for me to share this with the audience, because as I listen to you, I see so much of it. So do you mind if we do that right now and just kind of share, what my thoughts are as a YOS coach on your Y operating system, and then how it really shows in the work that you do?
Oh, absolutely. It's great.
I love it. I love it. So audience, coaches, leaders, and friends out there, let me tell you about Dr. Tina Flores' Y operating system. So she leads with the Y of makes sense. And as most of you know, people with the Y of makes sense love solving problems. They're problem solvers. They're people who take in lots and lots of information, digest it, and quickly come up with solutions on how to use it. And I'm sure you can tell why I was jumping at the opportunity to introduce her this way, because that's literally all she's done in the few minutes we've been on the air, talking to us about how she saw a problem and is helping solve it. Her how is mastery. And so here we have somebody with a PhD. Usually happens when we have the how of mastery or mastery anywhere in the top 3. So this is someone who is deep, has learned things at a really deep level. And then what's beautiful about it is she pairs it with the why of makes sense. So she uses all that knowledge in order to help make sense of things for others, just like you really did for me a little while ago. Explain to me something that probably there's a lot more to in terms of combining AI and EI, but you've turned it into a framework that makes sense and that people can implement. So the mastery is definitely there. So we know that what you bring is researched and has depth to it. And your what is trust. So what we know about people with the what of trust is they value trust. They want to be a trusted source. They want to make sure they're dependable. What you bring is something that's been tested and researched. It's not just off the cuff. Hey, I just read an article about this. I've actually done some research. I did a doctoral thesis on this. This was my research that I've done. So all of it really adds up to kind of what we've heard already, Dr. Tina. But, when we went through your process, you really liked it. I'd love to just get your thoughts on what you thought of the assessment and how you see it in yourself.
So I loved it. I'm a big personality test kind of person. I like all of these things. But the difference with this one, I'll say, like, the word that I use when I'm describing it to other people is I felt activated. Like it brought me to life a little bit. Like it made everything that I'm doing, how I'm doing, it's like, light bulb, it all makes sense. So I really enjoyed going through the whole steps of understanding what the make sense part, the mastery part, the trust part. I'm like, that's me, that's it. It all makes sense now. And since having these things, I tend to look at it and I'm like, okay, that's my make sense coming out. That's my mastery. I need to dig deep. Sometimes it helps me to go forward, but sometimes it gives me like that thought of like, that's my mastery trying to like poke out. Maybe I should take a step back because this isn't an instance where I need to have that mastery. That's just how I tend to work. But let me pull that back a little bit because they need something a little bit quicker. So let's not dig that deep into mastery. And all of those things really helps me to be not only a better leader with my team, but a better coach when I'm working with my people, and also just better in life when I'm communicating and I'm thinking about like, I'm like, I wonder what their why is. I wonder what all of this means for them. Like, am I too much? Or am I not enough right now because of what they need to receive on their end? So it's helped me a lot.
Oh, thank you so much. And what I really love is how, and I knew this was going to happen. I knew that by the time I brought you on, you will have read every page of your why, every description, all your how and your what, and how they interact together. And and that's the other great thing about when I work with coaches or consultants, people who are very self-aware, it really just resonates with them, and you start seeing it in your everyday life, right? And I love that you've already done one of the things that I coach people on is our greatest strength can also sometimes be our greatest fault, right? We can take mastery too far and overwhelm people because we know so much, and I'm not a mastery person, but you are. You know so much. There's so much information you have that if you just come at people with it, it can really be overwhelming. Just like the make sense part where you're solving problems, sometimes people aren't ready to have their problem solved. Sometimes they just want us to listen, right? And we have to take in all that information and not come up with a solution really quickly, because in coaching, as you know, we want them to come up with the solution. So there's so much there that you brought. So thank you so much for sharing your perspective on that. I thought it would be important, especially as I listen to your deep answers and everything that you're bringing to this interview. I want to make sure and give people a perspective of where that was coming from. So one of the things you said, and that I said in your bio, was in your personal time, you leverage your talent expertise to coach stuck professionals to finally have a career they love. That's big right now. Everybody wants to have a career they love. It's not available to everyone. I tell people, I read it somewhere. There are some jobs that just are not going to be fun. That we need people to collect garbage, and that's just not going to be your life. I don't know anyone who says that's my lifelong goal. I want to be a garbage picker, but that's a job that needs to get done. But if you're capable, if you have a talent that the world needs, and somebody's willing to pay you for doing it, why not do that thing that you're gifted at? So how do you help people find a career they love?
So that's a three-part process. So there's clarity, strategy, and then we get to results. So in the clarity piece, I really want to know what brings you to life. You don't have to love every component of your job. You don't have to love every person at your job. But if it is absolutely soul sucking and you're not growing and you hate it, there's that piece, and you need to get out of that. So what brings you to life? Is it the tasks? Is it the people? Is it the area, the arena, the physical location? Once we have that determined, what brings them to life, then we can look at what their skills currently are and how we can translate. A lot of times I'm finding that people are really good at this thing, but they hate it. So how can we use what they're really good at to put them into something they're passionate about so that they can actually be excited to go to work more days than not?
No, that makes so much sense. I use a model, quadrant model. You're probably familiar with it, Dr. Teen. You probably can teach me about it, but I use it with my clients. I talk about spending 80% of our time doing stuff we love and that we're good at, right? So I think there's stuff that we're good at and we love to do. We should spend 80% of our time doing stuff we're good at and we love. I call the other quadrant the stuff we're not good at, but that we love to do. I call that's either going to be a hobby like golf. You're not good at it, but you love doing it. That's fine, because that's not going to impact your ability to provide for your family or provide for your company. But there's also it could be a developmental area, something you want to be good at. So, spend about 10% of your time on stuff you love to do, you're not good at. Maybe it's you're not good at it yet. Or in the case of golf with me, it's never going to be that good at it, but let's get better at it. So that's hobbies or stuff, areas of improvement. The other quadrant that I say you could spend 10% of your time on is stuff that you're good at, but that you don't love to do. For me, that's math. I'm very good at math. My ACT scores say I'm good at math, but boy, you would never want me as your accountant. I would not want to look in round numbers and look at spreadsheets all day long. You couldn't pay me enough to do that. So that's stuff that I say, look, you can do that, but don't do it long term. Do it because you need it. Let's say that you lose your accountant. Well, you've got to do the books for a couple of months until you hire someone else. I get that, but let's get out of that space as soon as possible. And then there's that bottom quadrant, that evil quadrant, that's stuff you're not good at and you don't love to do. If you're in a job where that's what your job is, you've got to run from there, right? You're not going to love it. So I'd love your thoughts on that, because you know what? I'm using this as a personal consulting call too. So Dr. Tina, you could send me a bill afterward, but you guys get to listen to it for free. And I'm sure she's nice. She's not going to send me a bill, but let's talk about that. Spending 80% of your time in your areas what you love to do, and doing what you're good at.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel that if you're good at it and you love to do it, do more of it. And let's find ways to do more of it. Now, as you mentioned, the other stuff like golf, I'm not good at it. I mean, I love to do it, but those kind of hobby things, they can stay hobbies. But how can we take that? So that part there, right? The golf, I love to golf. What do you love about golf? What is it? Well, it's the quietness, it's the 18 holes, or it's the being able to just be with my thoughts. That's teaching me a lot about you and what you like to do. If you tell me that I don't like anything about this job, but I really love going golfing, I'm not good at it, but I love it, I'm not going to tell you to become a professional golfer. But what jobs can you sit with yourself and really think about what you're going to do next? You sound like a strategy kind of person. You sound like somebody that likes to have good wins and likes to have a direct path, because golf is, my understanding anyway, is it's a pretty specific path. So if those are things that you have, how can I get you to do more of that at work? Now, sometimes you can't just go to your boss and be like, I like golf, give me a job more like golf. Doesn't happen. But how can we create something? If it's not here, what else is there? What other jobs can we do? Sometimes you want to move up. That's a promotion. Sometimes it's move on. You want to get a new job, and sometimes it's move out. You're going to create something of your own. But how in that can we get to that 80% that you're talking about? How can we build something, and what can you learn about yourself that really speaks to what that 80% should be?
That's exactly right. Oh, I love this. This is so good. It's funny because you're talking to me right now. One of the reasons I love being an entrepreneur and being a coach and consultant is I have an 80-year-old dad who also loves golf. And on Wednesdays, we play golf. And I get to go play 9 holes with him. He plays with his friend. I only get 9 holes. His friends get 18 holes on Mondays. And if I could take off Mondays, and I could probably rearrange my schedule. I like having Wednesdays as my golf day because every day that I work, Dr. Tina, I'm either coming off of golf or going into golf or into a day off. So I work I don't work Sunday, but I'm coming on Monday. I'm coming off an off day. On Tuesday, I'm going into an off day. On Thursday, I'm coming off an off day. And on Friday, I'm going into an off day. And I learned that from one of my fellow coaches. But I like what you said about it's not necessarily the golf. It's what is it that you like about it, right? For me, it's the social aspect, spending time with people, getting to know people at a deep level. So I get to do that in the work that I do. There's a sequentiality to it that I think, you have to go in order. You haven't played with me. At our course, it's never really crowded. So I will go, and if, the first tee is crowded, I'll go start on 15 and then maybe to move from that to 11 and I'll just jump around, and that drives some people crazy. But as somebody who likes to challenge the status quo, I could care less. If I get 7 holes in and then I'm done, that's fine. Versus there are some people for whom order is very important, and they're going to start on 1, go through 9, have a break, and then do the back 9 and come up with 18 again. But that's like, I love what you said. It's not the golf. It's how are you doing it? What is it that you love about it? And I'm sure if I shared that with you, now whoa, wait a minute. Dan is not going to be happy at a job where he has to follow structure and processes all
Right.
the time, because he likes to do things his own way. And so where can we get him in a place where he has freedom? What tools are you using? And I know where you're familiar with YOS now, but what tools do you use to help people understand what their zone of genius is? Is it tools you've created, or do you use some of the common tools that other coaches use?
Oh, I have a quiz that I created. It's about 17 questions, and it helps to identify an ideal path. Now, that quizzes don't always answer the direct, like, this is the one, that's it. And if you don't like it, then tough cannolis, this is the one we're going with. But it kind of gives them an idea of whether they want to move up, move on, or move out based on their answers. And then from there, it kind of gives me a view of whether they're exploring, whether they're ready, whether they have the ability to move now, if it's something that they're probably not going to do in the immediate future, all of those things. And that's where I get started with them. Now, I am a big person of not everything is one size fits all, so I want to, once I get that and I kind of understand from that moment in that day where their path is kind of trending towards, then we can use other tools. We can use different personality assessments. We can use different coaching culture diagnostics and stuff like that. But I try to make things as personalized to the person. That's funny to say that, personalized to the person, but as personalized to the person as possible, because careers are so intimate. You are spending so much of your time working that, I don't want to just give you this thing here and then have it be done. And I think that that's why the YOS is so amazing, is that while there's these things, it's so expansive and it covers so many things and it teaches you a lot about yourself. And I love that about this platform that you have, because it is so customized. Even though it's a test function, it is so customized.
Well, that's, you said a couple of things there that I want to follow up on. And of course you created your own quiz. Is this not a mastery person at work? You know what? You probably looked at a bunch of other stuff and you said, you know what? I bet I can create something better. You created something with exactly what you wanted, and it's customized. It's personalized to the individual that you're working with. And then you have a common language. That's one of the reasons I love the YOS, because I do it with every coaching client. As a matter of fact, I just had a couple of clients that haven't had time to take the discovery, and I said, well, why don't we hold off on our meeting? Let's wait because as you saw, it takes 10 minutes to complete. So it's not like you need a lot of time, but if you don't have 10 minutes to complete that, then this is not a priority for you right now. And I understand. So let's just put that off for another time. And let's come into a meeting where we can know as much about each other as we can, because it helps me understand them, but it helps me explain myself to them also. So I bet that tool does that for you too.
It does. It does. And one thing that I've been hearing recently is how scary accurate it is. Like, they take it and they're thinking that they're going to, they're up for promotion. That's what they want. They want a promotion. They take it. And then it's like, this says I should own my own business. I thought I wanted a promotion. Well, you want to move up, but not there. You want to move out and, up and out and have your own thing. There's been a few times where I've had clients that were very firm that, I just want a new job. That's it. That's all I need. That's really what I want. And then when we look at it, when I talk with them, they really just tell me that they're really dissatisfied with the lack of growth opportunities that they've had. And that the job is okay. The people are nice. The boss is fine, but they just really need a new job. And when we dig deep, they wanted a promotion. They got passed over. They asked for a raise. They didn't get it. And then when we're like, okay, let's try one last time, because you have been here 15 years. You have done all of this stuff. You've made these connections. And from talking with you, so much of your personality is wrapped in what you're doing here that it might be a bigger loss for you to make a jump right now. I'm not saying you can't never jump. For you right now, let's try one more time. So we packaged a promotion, put it all together. We came up with our scripts. I really don't like to use the word of scripts, but like prepared conversations. And they got the promotion and they are so happy. They thought this whole time they wanted another job, but like these things, I'm like, it called you out and it was right.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Yeah, because sometimes it's just walking people through that awareness piece,
mhm,
right? And understanding, and I love what you said, because sometimes we all need coaches, right? We all, I know I have a coach. People say, well, you're a coach yourself. Why do you have a coach? I'm like, everybody needs a coach. The,
yes.
you know, the example I use is Olympians need coaches, and they're the top 1/100th of 1% of all athletes in the world, and they need someone. And the coach doesn't necessarily have to be a former Olympian. It doesn't have to be somebody that's as fast or as strong as you are. It's just somebody that can help you with that perspective. And I love the way you walk this person through the process. And then also, I think the other thing that you did that I think is very valuable is you help them prepare for the interviews and have the
Mhm.
confidence to go in there. And I think that comes from self-awareness. I think whether it's your quiz that you're using or the YOS, I think when you come into an interview knowing, like for me, and those are, audience, sorry, I'm going to bore you a little bit, but I'm having a conversation with Dr. Tina right now. I'm a contributor. In everything I do, I want to make a difference. I want to help people. I want to make an impact. And that's my why. My how is to challenge the status quo. So how I make an impact is by doing things different, outside the box, and breaking things. I'll come into a situation and I'll throw things up in the air just to see where they fall. And if you're not comfortable with that, you better not hire me, because you're not going to be comfortable with the way I approach. I tell my clients, I'm going to make you uncomfortable. And if you're not comfortable being uncomfortable, that's okay. Well, I can refer. I have other friends who coach. I have other colleagues who probably might be a better fit for you. But if you're looking to look at something different, willing to look at all the options, then we're going to have some fun with it. And then my what is make sense. Like yourself, I like to solve problems, but we go about it a totally different way. You go about it by learning things at a deep level. I make sense of the mess that I create. I help people say, okay, now that we've thrown it all up in the air and seen where it fell, let's make sense of it. How do we put it all back together so that we have a plan for you? Both of them work, but I know going in what I don't want to do. And I don't want to be put in a 9 to 5 rigid, this is what you do every day, because I will run from there at 5 o'clock. At 4:59 and 59 seconds, I'm sprinting out that door. And what fun is that, right?
Right.
So let's go with that. What advice would you give? Let's take Dan Dominguez. I'm hiring a Dan Dominguez. What advice do you have for the person hiring a Dan Dominguez? Just giving you what I just gave you, and what advice do you have for Dan Dominguez as he's looking for a job based on your model?
So when you're hiring a Dan Dominguez, you're hiring somebody that needs that constant movement. I want you to look at what your position is. Okay. Now, I don't believe that all positions are. I don't believe that those are one size fit all either. So there's what flexibilities does Dan Dominguez have? Can Dan Dominguez have? Because he has the skills, he has the knowledge, and he has the EI to be a really great asset to this team. Now I need you to be flexible. What sort of things can we give him throughout his day to give him autonomy and flexibility? Like, how can we keep his mind stimulated throughout the day so that he's not just sitting in a 9 to 5? Can we give him flexible hours? Can we let him work 10 hours this day and then maybe like 6 that day, so that we can kind of work with what his flow is best at doing? So that's what I would say for those hiring managers, to really understand the person that you're bringing on and what flexibilities you can have. Now, there are some positions that don't have those flexibilities. And if I was hiring Dan Dominguez for a call center where they have to be strapped to their desk for 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day, that's probably not going to be the best fit for him. And he's going to run out there as soon as he possibly can.
Right.
So it's a truth. And that's a save for the company and for Dan. Because even though Dan really wants this job, he thinks he wants this job, he really wants to get it, it's not going to work for him. 2 months in, he's going to hate his life. So that's probably not a good fit. Now, for Dan, I would always advocate for you to be honest in the most polished way. So don't just go in there and be like, I can't do 9 to 5. You're not going to get the job, sweetheart. Stop it.
Right.
Okay. That's pure honesty, and I love it, but no, polished honesty. So I work best in these kind of environments or whatever, right? So that's what I work best in these environments. When you go into an interview, if you really want that job and they're telling you that it is a little bit more rigid than what you would like to have, then I would have a polished way of saying, I completely understand that this position has this, and that. The regular hours are from 9 to 5. Upon, passing through the probationary period, are there any flexibilities for maybe some flex hours, like to do a 10-hour day here, a 6-hour day there? I do find that some days I'm just powering through. I'm in my productive mode and I just can power through. And I'd like to be able to have that flexibility to work those hours while still being really good to the company and efficient, giving those 40 hours a week overall.
I love that polished honesty.
Mhm.
Thanks a lot. You're only about 20 years short on that advice that I needed about 20 years ago, Dr. Tina. But here's the thing. I'm going to give you a scenario. This is so fun, by the way. Thank you for sharing. And I think our audience is getting a lot of value out of that, because if you're a hiring manager, now you've just received a tip on how to hire an out-of-the-box thinker. And if you're an out-of-the-box thinker, you just received some really valuable tips on how to make yourself more appealing in the interview process. I worked as a national sales director for a major medical device company, and I had my VP of sales, my direct boss, every year would say, "Hey, Dan, so one of the things I tell people with the why of challenge in their top 3 need wide bumpers. They need a lot of latitude," just exactly what you talked about. And my VP of sales every year would say, "Dan, here's your quota. Don't break the law."
Nice.
have a good quarter. See you at the quarterly meeting. And that's music to somebody with my makeup's ears, because literally I could do anything except break the law. And that's pretty much anything goes. So we could be creative. We had a lot of fun. We had meetings in fun places. The reason I bring that up is, this would have been good to know back then. When that VP retired and the new one took his place, he was very different, and he liked things done his way, by the book, and you had to have meetings on these dates, and you had to spend so many hours in the field with your managers, and that was so stifling to me that I literally said, I can't do this. And it led to my exodus from the corporate world. But I think both my new boss and myself could have used Dr. Tina to come in and say, "Hey, wait a minute. Dan can still do this, because he's only been doing it for 6 years already successfully, never missed quota. Why are we parting ways? Only because he wants to do some things different. What kind of bumpers? How can we widen his bumper so he has fun? And how can we make sure we tell him, hey, these are the things you must do this way," right? And that probably happens all the time. You probably get a lot of those situations, right?
I do actually. Like when I talk to hiring managers, and or just the teams, right? So it's not just the one doing the hiring, but it's those people at the top that are coming down with those workforce plans. When we're workforce planning, a couple of the things that I like to point out to those kind of people, those very rigid, like, and I get why they are with the way they are, but let's be a little bit flexible here. Let's have a conversation. When you stuff people, and I'm not saying just gently put them, but when you stuff people into very rigid boxes that they don't want to be in, they will do what you're telling them for the sake of doing what you're telling them. So if you tell them that they have to show up at 9 and leave at 5, you will get 8 hours of a body and nothing more. That's it. You're going to have them show up. If you tell them they have to make, like in the instance of sales, you tell them you have to make 100 calls today. Do you want to guess how many of those calls are going to be awesome calls that are going to close? Very few, because they're just, they didn't answer. But look at my record. I called. You can check. And that's the mindset that some of these people have on both sides of the table. This person isn't working. I hate my job. When if there would just be some sort of a meeting in the middle where, let's not have such rigid quotas, but let's have efficiency metrics. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means, like, are they doing what they need to be doing? If they need to close 10 deals a month, this is just a random number, 10 deals a month, do they really need to make 100 calls a day? Well, our research shows that 100 calls a day is lead, but if they're not really making
quality calls,
calls, then you're not getting the 10. How about we try 2 months? Give me 2 months of whatever calls you make. If you have less than 5, we're going to have a conversation just to see what the calls were. I can listen to the calls, whatever, if that's what you need to do, to kind of see what's going on, to maybe coach their sales skills.
Right.
And if they're not hitting their numbers, then let's have a conversation. But if they're hitting their numbers consistently every month, making 10 calls, that's a big exaggeration. I'm just saying, like, only 10. They closed all 10. They have 100% record.
Right.
Can we get them to do more then? Can we get them to do 15 now? Because now
Mhm.
that they have all of that room to do what they need to do on those calls, and they're having a significant closing record, 85 to 90% closes, they're doing something right. Maybe let's
Right.
look at what they're doing.
I love that. Yeah, and it's really outcomes based
Mhm.
evaluation, right? At the end of the day, one of the things that I tell people, I led sales teams for a long time, and for me, it's always about the end result. You have a quota. If you hit that quota, there's a lot that I'm going to forgive, right? I don't care if your expense reports are late, if you're not keeping track of your mileage. There's a lot of things that I'm going to forgive because you're hitting your number, right? And now we can work on those things, right? Because some of those things, again, people always think that challenge people are lawbreakers. We're not. I still stop at stop signs and red lights, and I pay my taxes and those things. But I like doing things my own way. So if I can find a way to get to that quota number, doing it in 10 hours a week because I love to play golf, and you're getting your numbers, then leave me alone, right? And let's figure out what it is that you must do. So such genius. Thank you so much for just going into that. And for sales leaders, that is so important to make sure that we're looking at the outcomes. But I think that's the case everywhere. One of the things you brought up, and I want to make sure we spend some time on this, Dr. Tina. You talked about, the traditional way of hiring. We look at the resume. Do they have the skills? Well, guess what? A lot of people have the skills. That's what we
Mhm.
call cognitive assessments, right? We're just looking, hey, are you hiring for a law firm? Did they pass the bar? That's easy. Are they a doctor? Well, did they pass their medical boards? That's the first part. The second part is, how are they a fit for our culture? And that's where we get into those other assessments. How do we like to do things at Why Not Leadership, at whatever company you are, and are you going to fit into that culture? And so that's where we get into the other assessments. But one of the things that I know that happens all the time, and you're talking about promotions, we promote people based on skills, right? On competency. And that's truly, truly the wrong way. If you're promoting them into a leadership position, I want to know if they can lead.
Mhm.
I wouldn't, when I was first promoted in corporate, I remember saying to my boss, hey, I haven't made President's Club yet. I was a top salesperson, but I wasn't the top salesperson. He said, Dan, I'm not promoting you because you can sell. If you could sell, I want to keep you in the field because that's where you're going to have the most positive impact. I'm promoting you because of your leadership. But that was rare. Most people get promoted. Hey, number one salesperson in the company, let's make them a manager. They don't want to manage sometimes. They want to go sell stuff to people, and that's where they're best at. And I even made the mistake when I was in a leadership role of doing that. Hey, let's take our best salespeople, and they flounder as managers and as leaders. Whereas as salespeople, they were great. So whether you're the best dentist in the practice and they make you the senior practice manager, or you're the best lawyer and now you're in charge of an entire group, we have to look at other factors. So other than leadership, what other factors should hiring managers be considering when promoting people? Because competency is there. If they're up for promotion, they've done their job well. But what other things, other than leadership, what other things are you looking at when you're looking at EI and AI together?
How they communicate. And that's the biggest thing. So how are they able to communicate? Because if you don't communicate well, even if you're the best at whatever it is you're doing, we'll talk sales. You're the best salesperson. You've outsold the entire company by two. You know what I mean? You've doubled everybody collective numbers. You've doubled it. That doesn't mean that you're the best person to lead the sales team. Now, I'm not going to say they're a bad communicator because they're obviously doing something right. They're selling. But when you're talking to a team as a leader, that is a much different level of communication. The stakes are different because it's no longer, can I close this deal? It's, can I get you to be where you need to go? So that's one, right? Communication. Two, their emotional intelligence. So when you're an individual contributor and you're trying to move up, a lot of times it's about me. I want to show you what I can do. I want to show you all the great things that I'm so capable of. Look at me, look at me, look at me. But when you're a leader, if you're a look at me leader, you're going to be a very crummy look at me leader. You want to say, look at my team. Look what they can do. They're great. Aren't they great? Look at them. Because the team is a reflection of you and your work. So you don't need to be, I'm so great, look at me. It's what can I do to make my team elevate? Can my team's numbers come up? Can my team's productivity come up? And can I get them to do it without being like, I hate what you're doing, do it better? Because that's not a good manager either. Can you motivate the team? Can you inspire the team? Can you be the kind of leader that they would follow into battle? You know,
Right.
and I'm not talking real battle here, but because they're military, that it does happen. But like that
Right.
that terminology comes for a reason. You know, it comes from there because they're willing to follow your lead. Whether
Right.
sometimes they might not even agree, like, I don't know if this is the best thing for us to do, but Tina said to do it. So, and I trust Tina, so I'm gonna do it. And then
Right.
you do it, and either it works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, the emotional intelligence of being like, I made a mistake. I'm sorry, guys. That did not work the way I thought it did. Thank you for doing it, but oops.
We got to do it again.
Yeah.
Or do it differently, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Being able to whoops, my bad.
Now that speaks so much to one of the tenets that I truly believe in leadership. You have to be a people first leader. You have to care about people, and you have to put them first, because leadership is not a numbers game. Leadership is a people game. I
Yes.
believe and you brought up a couple of things. If your people have to know that you care about them first before they're gonna go out and they'll do anything, like you said, that if they trust you and they trust that you have their best interest, they will do what you say. That puts a little more pressure on you to make sure that what you say is the right thing to say. But I believe in this, and I think it's important. People buy into what they help create, and great leaders involve their teams in the decision making. Now, at the end of the day, you're still responsible. Whatever decision you come to, you can't go to your boss and say, well, I gave it to them and they voted to do that, and it didn't work, so it's their fault. No, guess what? You made the decision. You're still the leader. You can't give up responsibility, but you can give them some authority, and you can give them some help. So I hear that in what you're talking about in again, hiring people because they communicate well. So I love that. They have to have leadership skills. They have to communicate well, and they have to care about people. And that's a great illustration you shared. Are they me? Because you have to be me in order to get noticed, in order to be in consideration for promotion. But
Yeah.
once you're there, are you pushing other people forward? And then when it comes time to the awards, it reminds me that I don't know if you've seen the movie Coach Carter.
Yes.
It's a basketball movie when the coach, after they win a big game, and he's showing and he's like, that was me. I drew that play up. And they're all looking at him like, wait, I executed the play. No, that was me. I drew that play up. And that you don't want to be that leader, because after a while, people don't want to follow you because they know that the credit's not coming to them. They're going to take credit for the work that you did. So really fabulous stuff. Dr. Tina, tell us, let's go back. I know we normally start here, but let's go back. What led you into this field? What led you to go get a PhD in this subject and want to learn more? What drew you to this?
So the reason I wanted to get my doctorate in business is that deeper understanding. There's a lot of things that I was doing well, and there's a lot of things that were making sense, but there was also so many things that I'm like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And it's like, if I'm going to do all this research, because I thought, I should just research this. I should just ask questions and talk to people. I'm like, well, let me just get a degree while I'm doing all that anyway, might as well. So that's what made me get the degree. And it's a doctorate in business administration with a specialization in innovation and strategy. And like all of those things spoke to me to make hiring better. So many people dread getting a new job. Like, it's exciting, like, hey, a new job. But from here to actual start is a nightmare for most people. And what I've found in my career is, for the hiring managers, it's equally stressful. They hate it just as much. They hate having to hire somebody, which is why a lot of the processes internally to companies are broken too, because they try their hardest to not have to hire somebody. Then they try their hardest to hire the most perfect person, because then nothing will go wrong. And all of those things aren't working for anybody at either side of the table. So I wanted to come in and make things better for both, both the hiring teams and those that are looking for the work, because again, so much of our lives is spent at work or working so that we can feed our families and do all of those things. it should be a good place. It shouldn't
Right.
be a nightmare to get there, and it should be a nightmare while you're there.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So as we're going through this, as we're talking about people, bringing the right people in, one of the, you hear this all the time: hire slow, fire fast. And sometimes it's not fire, it's put in a different place, right? Put them in
Mhm.
a place where they can be more effective, where they're going to be happier. But what are your thoughts on that? I mean, how deliberate should we be in hiring, and then how quick should we be in removing people when they're not in the right role or they're not performing? I'm sure you've got a process for that you've researched.
Yes. So I don't have just hire and then fire. I have a pre-hire. So before we hire, do you know what you want?
Mm.
Because if you don't, we need to know. Well, I kind of want somebody to do this, and I kind of no kind of. What do you want? What are they going to do? What are you expecting this person to come in? Let's say I have someone in my pocket right now. I'm going to hand them to you. What are they going to do tomorrow? Well, I really don't know. Then I'm not hiring anybody. You're not hiring anybody. You need to figure out what you want. What do you want them to do? And that's what you need to figure out first. Not, well, I want somebody with a master's and you don't even know what they're going to do yet. How do you know
Right.
that a master's is appropriate? So
Right.
this pre-work, what do you want them to do? What are the outcomes that, and you can tell from my conversation, I'm very outcome based. Like, what do you want them to do? What is the actual objective that they're going to be meeting? Okay, start there. Once we have that ironed out, and for realsies, this is what they're going to do. What can we have that can accomplish this? Well, I want them to answer phones. They need to have a master's degree. Wrong. No, they don't need a master's degree to answer the phones. So then that conversation of, does these qualifications match what the doing is, right?
Mhm.
Once
Right.
that happens, then we have a really good idea of what we're looking for. So in the hiring process, now we know what we're looking for because we know what they're going to do. And that makes the hiring process that much easier, that much better, and more likely, in my opinion, to hire a better fit. Now, not every time we hire somebody are they going to be who we thought they were. And that could be for a variety of reasons. But let's just say they turned out to really not be a good fit for this job. We thought these things were going to match this, that was going to match the
Right.
position. Position changed, the things changed, but this person is a really great person. I'm so sad to see them go. Are you? Then where can we put them? Well, we don't have any other positions. Don't we? Like, nothing? There's nothing? Well, they're really good at doing this, that, and the other. Okay, where could that be served? Well, if I could wave a magic wand, I'd put them here. Well, let's have a conversation with all of the decision makers there to see what we can do to get them there. And if we can, let's put them there and see how that works.
I love that.
Because that's essentially going to save the company time and money. Well, we don't have the money to put someone somewhere else. Let's look at the numbers, because a 1 hour meeting for us to determine if we can keep this person to put them somewhere else, and even let's just say 60 days sampling them in that separate division, is still saving us more money than it is to either keep them in a spot that they're unproductive or fire and then get really anxious about putting someone else in, that now we have 5 months without somebody in the role because now we're looking for perfect because we didn't get it right the first time.
Right.
So we're saving.
No, I love that.
Yes,
I use that all the time. I tell people when they're having anxiety over their job and getting everything done, I say this: what is the one thing? And I think you're putting that to the hiring manager. I tell them, what's the one thing that if you do that, nothing else matters. Your boss is going to be happy. So what is the one thing they hired you for? But if you're a hiring manager and you don't know the one thing this person must do, because then you're really hiring for the right skill. If the outcome is they need to get us $10 million in sales, okay, let's find the best person that's really good at closing sales. And if they don't have X, Y, and Z, that's also part of the job description. Who cares? This is the best person that's going to get us close sales, or they're going to be the best, plumber, whatever. They're going to be the best at fixing bathrooms, because that's really the biggest thing that they need to do. So if you come in and all you do is fix all the bathrooms, but your uniform's untidy and all this other stuff, but all the bathrooms are working 6 months later, guess what? You hired the right person, right?
Yeah.
And we can work on getting them to tidy up their uniform and keep the tool room neat and all those other things. But if they're fixing bathrooms and that was what they were hired to do, voila, you've got the match. But I love that you challenge the hiring manager to know, what do you want them to do? And if you don't know that, we're not hiring anybody. That is hardcore. Dr. Tina, How did you get here? We're getting to the end here. How you're so well put together. You know what you're talking about. You're an authority. Tell us, was there ever a time where you said, "Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. I probably should just go get a job instead of doing what you're doing, where you're making such a big difference for the government, for big companies, for individuals." What was the time that you were tested and you said, "Oh my God, maybe I don't do this," but you're glad you pushed through and did it anyway?
Well, when I started to lean heavier into coaching and working one-on-one with people to get them where they wanted to be, I'm like, oh man, I'm not qualified for this. I'm not qualified to get you where you go. That is such a pressure,
Right.
getting you into a job that you love and having you like work, and how many people actually like work? Like that's a tall order.
Right.
And I thought for a minute, I say a minute, but like a long time, like multiple times.
Right.
This isn't where I should be. I should just, go into corporate, stay there, stop trying to save the world. I'm going to put my Wonder Woman cape away. We're done. Because I just need to not, especially when I have these clients that are like, I don't like it. I'm so burnt out. I don't like any of these jobs. I don't want to do anything. I go to these interviews and I hate it all. Like, I don't know what you can do to fix me. And having someone say that almost gave me the I needed to smack out of it. Like, I'm not here to fix you. I'm glad you said that, because I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to inform, and I'm here for you to come alive. I need you to understand what you want, because I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to fix the company. I'm not here to fix anything. I'm here to inform, to educate, and to inspire, to give you the juju you need to effectuate the change. And once that happened, it's like, okay, I am okay, because it's not up to me to fix it. It's up to you to fix it, and it's up to them to fix it. But it's still that little that heavy hat that you have to wear, because I have to get you to see it. So now that I understand that my job isn't to fix it, it's not to do it for you, it's not to wave that magic wand and bippity boppity boo yourself into the perfect job. It's to get you to be somewhere where you are self-aware enough to see what's in front of you, to see who you are, and to see how those things can go from point A to point B.
Heavy is the crown, isn't it, Dr. Tina? It's a lot of responsibility, and thank you so much. This has been such a great interview. I think we could go on another hour. I know for a fact that this is going to be a two-parter. We're going to have you back, because I still have a list of questions that I wrote down on the things that you brought up. But leaders, if you are listening to Dr. Tina, we're going to have her contact information in the show notes. So please, if there's a question you have, I know she's very generous with her time, and she spends time. You can find her on LinkedIn. She puts out amazing content. We become a mutual admiration society. Thank you so much, Dr. Tina, for commenting and liking our post. She puts out great stuff all the time. Find her on LinkedIn. But we're going to have all her information in the show notes, and let's see if we can't help more people love the work that they do, find jobs that they love, and let's help more leaders find those outstanding candidates. Thank you so much for being on, Dr. Tina. What do you say we end the show on that note?
Why not?
Thank you so much, Dr. Tina. Guys, we will see you next week on another episode of the Lead Different podcast. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and share this podcast with your friends. If you got any value out of it, let us know and give us a 4 or 5 star review, whatever the maximum number of stars is. Give it to us. Dr. Tina, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys next week on the Lead Different podcast.
This is Lead Different.
Subscribe now. Discover a new era of leadership. Lead different, because great leaders change the world.